Welcome back. It's your number one Southwest Florida sports podcast, the hottest podcast in Southwest Florida. Coach 'em up, Dre. I'm your man, Coach Pie, and I'm here to give a recap of the best high school basketball game that was played this year in the county. Who were the two teams? St. John Neumann, the Celtics, visited the First Baptist Academy Lions in the Lions Den on Saturday, February the 7th, in the district championship. The Lions were trying to defend their district titles and led by Mr. Daniel Reeves, number 23 of the visiting Celtics. The Celtics came to play. They won the first two quarters. After the first quarter, they led 15-10, and then it's starting to tighten. Okay. Coach Scott Stewart, as you know, and he has a reputation. I'm gonna have to put a stamp on it. He's the best coach in Southwest Florida when it comes to that ball coaching. Okay, he's a legacy. Halftime, 20-19, the Celtics. Okay, and the Lions had them right where they wanted. They were like a bull constrictor. They started to constrict on Daniel Reeves, who is he's a Southwest Florida leading score of the basketball, averaging a little bit more than 26 points per game. And I'm gonna tell you this: incredible atmosphere. Hats off to the St. John Neumann fan base. They are fanatical and they packed that gym. That gym was, I think they had people sitting on other people's shoulders. It was people, it was standing room only, SRO. And that gym was electric. Their cheerleaders, their fans, everybody came there to support St. John Neumann. But you know what? The Lions have their own support, and their student section is top notch. They come dressed in all kind of cartoonish outfits and everything, hold signs. They bring a lot of juice to the gym. And I'm going to tell you, it was quite the atmosphere. And you know what happens when you have two stars. Okay, let's break this down. Okay, the Celtics have Mr. Daniel Reeves, who is a phenomenal guard. Okay, Daniel, let me talk about you a little bit before I talk about the Lions. 6'8", tantalizing. He reminds me of a smaller version of DC Derek Coleman, played at Syracuse. You young people, look up who DC is. Lefty, just like Mr. Body Bag, who I'm gonna talk about in a few minutes. But getting back to the superstar for the St. John Neumann Celtics, Mr. Reeves. Let me tell you something about this young man's game. I talked about him early in the season about how I really like him, man. High release, jumpers wet. He is aggressive. He's my type of basketball player, okay? He's going to leave it all on the floor. And that's what I like about him. He knows he's a star, okay? And in basketball, one man impacts the game unlike any other sport. And if he's going to go down, if his team's going to go down, it's not going to be because Mr. Reeves is not shooting the ball. Let me tell you, you know where you get that attitude? Your grandfather. Let me speak to you. I'm just talking to you right now, Daniel. Let me tell you a little bit about your grandfather, okay? Who, man, them buddies now. But when we met, I don't know, when did I meet your grandfather? 7, 8, 9, 10 months ago. You know, he had to be wearing this old nasty college shirt in the gym that we work out in. It said Ohio State. Okay. And he was sitting down working out, and I see this older gentleman. Daniel, his grandfather's he don't look his age. He's in his 80s, great shape. I love the guy, okay? But on this particular day, I didn't know him. So I was walking by and I see this guy with this Ohio State shirt, and it just something about seeing Ohio State on somebody's T-shirt and Notre Dame. So anyway, I saw this older gentleman and I made a little slick comment about his shirt, being disgusting or something like that. I said, hey man, you got some dirt on your shirt, man. Take that shirt off. And I kept it pushing. Okay, just think about it. We're in the YMCA working out. He's sitting there minding his own business, and I do a little slick talk to your grandfather, Daniel. You know how your grandfather is. And for y'all that don't know Daniel's grandfather, he was sitting in the front row at this game, had on the electric green hoodie, okay, in the front row, right next to the student section. So you students will probably know who this elderly gentleman was in the front row. And he tried to, fight, our head football coach. But that's another story at the game. That's another story. We laughed about it. But anyway, I meet him at the gym, and I make that slick comment about Ohio State. And what does he do? He said something slick back to me. And I doubled back, and I was like, what did you say? He was like, you heard me. You know, if you don't like my shirt, you could just keep moving. Ever since then, him and I have been fast friends, you know, and every time we see each other, which is weekly, around 2:00 p.m. on Sunday at the YMCA, we recap how you had played this week, Daniel. He gives me all the ins and outs of how you played, and I break down what I think about your game and your team. Now, let me talk about the superstar on the other side before I talk more about this game. 6'8", I told you, this young man is a southpaw, Mr. Body Bag, okay? Brock Bonner, 4-star. I know everybody's heard about him by now. He's highlight just waiting to happen. He's gonna put you in the basket along with the ball if you try to challenge him going to the rim. This young man has all the skills to reach as high as he wants to. Big time atmosphere. Both guys played well. Only thing I like to see out of you, Brock, man, is just to know, hey, you step on that court, can't nobody see you, okay? I need more shots up out of you, man. I need you to realize, man, that put them on your back, okay? There's no need to be down 20-19 in your home gym, you know, the St. John Neumann, when you on that court. So I just want to see you be much more aggressive, get shots up, get buckets, take dudes down on the block. You know, you got a 6'3" guy, wide receiver masquerading as a power forward out there, man. You gotta put him in the torture chain down low. You know, as well as, hey, I like to see you catch on that wing and go right away. They not sending a double team. They gonna disrespect you by putting one man on you. One man can't guard you, son, not in basketball. Not in this high school area right here. There's no reason why you shouldn't be averaging 30 points easily. But everything that I like about you from a skill set, I'm gonna give you a plus because you don't play outside of uh, um, how letting the game come to you. You let the game come to you, and what you were very clutch the fourth quarter. Made a lot of free throws, sank a lot of free throws, and that widened the score down the stretch. Yeah, they were bodying you, and I like the way that you didn't let it fluster you. You know that's how you gonna get played. The book is out. They just gonna try to rough you up because they don't have the skill set to deal with you. So for you to play through a lot of that contact, play through some of the chippiness, and then just step up to the line and make those baskets and put your team out in front for good, man, salute to you, man. So it was good to see both star players doing well and doing well when it most mattered. Now back to how this game played out, man. And Coach Alex there, you know, with St. John, no, I like him. First year coach, I like him. Every time I see him get a chance to talk, I even talked to him after the game in the parking lot, man, because I'm impressed. For St. John Neumann, what frustrated me just looking at you from a offensive standpoint, because the defense, I think both teams played well. You got shot blockers in there. You got Ronnie, you know, being able to body and control Brock for the most part. You know, both teams gritty. It was a very physical game, and I thought it was officiated well. I thought till the last, you know, minute or so when fouls, you know, really the disparity really went one way to FBA, but I think they earned that. I think they earned that whistle. You know, they got St. John Neumann into the bonus early, but I just think their physicality, you know, wore down St. John Neumann. Let me say this: you got to get young Mr. Chambers the ball. You got to find a way for that freshman sensation to get some shots up to make it easier for Daniel to say, look, man, y'all offense, man. If Daniel is not creating or going strong to the basket or just pulling up on somebody and splashing, man, that offense was really non-existent. And I couldn't understand it, especially when you got a Ryan Chambers on the floor that can space some flooring. You know what I mean? Get Daniel more off the ball sometimes. I don't know, maybe run some pin downs, run it through a couple flare screens or something like that. Get him on the move more than having him bring the ball up and then he has to operate. What I see in you Daniel and what I see in Daniel, man, he got a lot of Jay Will in him, man. You know, if y'all look him up too. He went to Florida. Jay Will, man, went to high school with Randy Moss. White chocolate, better known as white chocolate. Dang, you got some of that, in your game, man. And I like it, man. You know, you can finish either hand. You can finish on the other side of the rim. Obviously, you can go up a few floors on the elevator and bang on people. Hey, man, it's nothing not to like about your game, all right? But I just think that y'all got to figure out a way to make things easier for you when you play defensive-minded teams like that. And I think you have a solution on the team. You know, your running mate, man, in the back court. Man, he's a bucket. But he had 3 points, I believe, and that was in the first half, just splashed a three. And I'm not seeing him get no shots off. So I don't understand it. You know, you went defense heavy. I don't think you needed to do that against FBA. You know, you really got one, maybe a secondary scorer, but in that type of game, you needed more offense on your side of the ledger. You know, you played right into the hands of FBA, man. They wanna drag you down into the mud, make it a fist fight, take you into the alley, you know what I mean, and beat you up. That's a staple of how the Stewarts coach basketball, man. They're not gonna go up and down with you, and that's where I also think that St. John Neumann, you gotta find a way in that sort of game like that. You gotta find a way to get easier baskets. All right. I think it was too many jump shots, way too many turnovers, and then you just got guys that can't when they get the ball offensively, they just can't create or they can't go and get a bucket. And that's where FBA can rotate or focus their defense. They're going to give, your big guy, they're going to give Ronnie jump shots, even though Ronnie made a wide open three, which in the third quarter. And that might have been the only 3 points that you got in the third quarter. Can you imagine, coming out after halftime and you play a full quarter and you only had 3 points? That was a ball game right there because you couldn't find no offense. And that was a time as Stress from Daniel really couldn't get his offense going. But St. John Neumann, you got to find a way to make the offensive end a lot easier for you guys, man. This thing right here, man, you 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 got to put this thing in that basket, man. You just ain't gonna dribble up and down the court all day. You gotta put this thing in the basket, and you just don't have enough the lineup that you were running out there. And maybe you don't have somebody outside of Daniel that can be counted on to score some points, but you got to find a way. You know, maybe get your big some touches down in the post. Maybe get some cheap free throws or something like that. But you got to get Ryan going, man. To get that offense going. Now, let me talk about those Lions because it really is all about the Lions. They protected the home court, went back to back in this district to assume the district title. What I like about the FBA and a coach Scott Stewart team is they play to their identity. Everybody on his team is going to fight you, regardless of their skill level. Okay, they are a tough and gritty team. Now, St. John Neumann coming into that game or all season long, they're averaging just north of 60 points, maybe 61, 62 points a game. And you mean to tell me they finished with 34 points? 34 points. That's almost 30 points below their scoring average. That's a credit to Scott Stewart, his staff, and his players for buying in to how they have to play in order to win games and to beat up a team that is going to play right into their hands. Nope, not one player is going to beat FBA. So you can forget about that, man. Scott Stewart's not going to let one person beat them. You better be very, very multiple in how you're going to operate your offense. You better make some threes. You better get to the free throw line. But the only way you can do that is to put pressure at the rim. But now they got Mr. 6'8", Mr. Brock, body bag out there. You're not easily getting to the rim. His length and everything is making it very difficult on some of these teams. So I like FBA to win a couple of games and really put some pressure into this playoffs because of their defensive identity. I really like them in a close game. You know, if that's where they want to play, man. They don't want to go up and down. They don't want to be playing in the 60s and 70s because I don't think they have that amount of scoring as well, unless Brock is just going to go nuts for the first time in a uniform, which I think he has the ability. You know, if that was their identity, I would love to see FBA play more up-tempo, look to get more run-outs, look to really just push the tempo. But again, that's not the identity of the program or the team. But I would love to see Brock really just in attack mode, man. Hey, man, I really would like to see, man, what he does, man. If he's getting the sort of shot attempts that Daniel's averaging like 16, 17, 18 shot attempts per game. Can you imagine seeing Brock get those same amount of, if he's getting consistently 16, 17, 18 shots per game, the type of numbers that he's going to do, you know, the ability to convert at the free throw line as well. Whew, whew, can be real, real scary for those Lions. But look, I just thought that was a tremendous atmosphere. Hey, both teams did not want to lose. And when you see some of the videos as they're running, as I'm talking, you seeing bodies are colliding. You just see the crowd. You just see the energy. You see the intensity by the coaches. The energy was incredible. And if you were one of the few lucky people to making it to that gym last Saturday night, boy, we saw quite the contest, man. It was everything that it was built to be. You knew these two teams very familiar with each other. You know the way that FBA likes to play, and St. John Neumann cannot allow themselves to fall into that trap. They have to find a way to push some tempo, but more importantly, they gotta find a way to get some easier buckets on offense. And I think they gotta find a way to get Chambers integrated, and they even gotta look to see if they can get a couple more touches for their big man down low. Okay. But great environment. Looking forward to what FBA is going to do Saturday night, what St. John Newman is going to do this weekend. And most importantly, I look forward to seeing Daniel, your grandfather, Sunday to talk about how you guys played. But that's my recap of the game of the year between St. John Newman and the FBA Lions, with the FBA Lions taking that game 45-34 in their home gym and winning their second straight district title. So I'm your boy. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to find the Coach 'em Up Dre podcast. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. Spread the word about the content. And we want to continue to shine some lights on some of the fantastic players, programs, coaches, and everything here in Southwest Florida. So again, I'm your boy, Coach Powell. This is Coach 'em Up Dre, the hottest sports podcast in Southwest Florida. Don't forget, tell a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to holler at you.